This news blast is brought to you by Qberg, Pittsburgh's source for LGBTQ plus news and community information. Learn more about Qberg by visiting their website at qberg.com. That's QBURGH.com. From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the evening news blast for March 23rd, 2025. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker sits at a table surrounded by University of Illinois researchers who will soon be out of work. Their lab set to lose its federal funding and close next month. One researcher saying she feels betrayed by the government turns to thank Pritzker. My husband sometimes shows me videos of you talking, says Aline Pomdor, a research specialist at the university's Soybean Innovation Lab. This was the first thing that gave me hope, that someone is speaking out, somebody is defending us. Pritzker, a billionaire heir to the Hyatt Hotel empire, may seem like an unlikely champion for working-class people affected by the Trump administration, but he's taken aim at President Donald Trump's potential tax cuts while backing universal health care and a higher federal minimum wage. The governor used a statewide tour this past week to present a path forward for national Democrats struggling to unify around a strategy to counter the Republican president, highlighting the effects of Trump's early actions in Illinois. The three-day swing included meeting with farmers in central Illinois in a barn to discuss agriculture and with older adults in suburban Chicago who are concerned about Social Security cuts. While far from the center of power in Washington, the stops resemble those of a future presidential contender in Iowa, New Hampshire, or South Carolina. How do you play a role when you don't have a vote? Pritzker said in an interview with the Associated Press. It's hopefully reminding people who we are as a country in a moment when I think people haven't really stepped back and thought enough about democracy and our history, reminding people of that, using the bully pulpit to talk about that and then rallying the troops. Pritzker has built alliances within the party for years as a top donor to Democratic campaigns and causes, giving millions from his personal fortune and helping the candidates raise money. That includes a recent $500,000 donation that went to support the Democratic-backed candidate in next month's Wisconsin Supreme Court race, a contest with big implications for the swing state and an election seen as a test of the national political climate. Lesser known than other potential 2028 contenders, Pritzker drew national attention in February when he used a joint budget and State of the State address to make a case for a parallel between Trump's rhetoric and the rise of Nazi Germany. If you think I'm overreaching and sounding the alarm too soon, consider this. It took the Nazis 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes to dismantle a constitutional republic, Pritzker said. The speech stood in stark contrast to many of Pritzker's fellow Democratic governors, who at the same time were on their way to Washington for face-to-face meetings with the newly sworn-in president. Pritzker skipped a gathering of the National Governors Association. Since then, the divide between Pritzker and other Democratic governors, particularly those potentially eyeing the party's 2028 presidential nomination, has only widened. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer recently sat for a one-on-one meeting with Trump as she seeks to find common ground with him. California Governor Gavin Newsom has launched a podcast in which he had friendly conversations with Trump loyalists, including Steve Bannon. Some Illinois Republicans walked out of the chamber during Pritzker's speech. The state GOP has criticized Pritzker for overspending and helping create a migrant crisis in Chicago. All the while, he jet sets across the country giving political speeches, more interested in headlines and presidential speculation than actually governing this state, Illinois Republican Party Chairman Don Tracy said. Pritzker has not relented in his criticism of Trump. On Tuesday, the governor spoke at the Liberal Center for American Progress in Washington, where he described Trump's early months as true villainous cruelty by a few idiots. During his meeting Wednesday with farmers in central Illinois, he warned that their way of life is under attack right now. People will go out of business, lose jobs, and the impact on our broader economy, not just in the state of Illinois, but in the United States, could be truly devastating. Pritzker told a barn full of farmers at a roundtable in Urbana, adding that they risk becoming collateral damage in Trump's efforts. He has not spared Democrats either. At the same roundtable, the kickoff of his statewide tour, Pritzker blasted the Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer of New York, and other Democratic senators who backed a Republican-led spending bill. Pritzker said their support was an enormous mistake. Well, that's the news blast for this hour. Be sure to download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Up next is the National Weather Service forecast for the Meadville area here on PEP Radio.